Hi, this is Gary from RevNyou Real Estate Education, and this week I'm going to be talking to someone from the Greater Toronto area who moved here from another country and is absolutely killing it. So I wanted to get him on the show, and without further ado, I just want to get right into it. Here is Addy. Hey, so Addy, thank you for coming on into the Ask the Expert series. I know we just recently met this weekend. We sat at the same table at a real estate event, the Real Estate Intelligence Network. I got to listen to a bit of your story. I thought it was super cool, and I wanted to share that with the viewers that we have on our YouTube channel and also discuss a little bit about you. So without getting to me saying too much, Addy, tell me a little bit about yourself and give me your pitch. Give me a pitch about you.
Sure. First of all, Gary, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So it was really a pleasure meeting you and your wife. I had like fantastic time talking with you guys. So yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So a bit about me. So basically, I came from India 6 years ago to Canada as a student. So I came here sorry about the background noise.
That's okay. We can't really hear it. Keep going.
Okay. So I came here as a student with a 50,000 Canadian dollars debt. So my dad borrowed money from all my family members, like uncles, aunts, 24% interest rate. So that's freaking crazy. But because at that time, I felt like I want to do something different. I want to go out and make our family life better.
Yeah.
So I came here as a student. I came to college in London. So there, after finishing my graduation, I worked really hard, like struggled a lot to get my first job, because as an immigrant, it's not that easy, because the culture is different. The way you communicate is different. It's all, I have to learn everything from the basics. I have to present myself in such a way that, someone has to offer me a job.
Yeah.
So it took me like 6 to 8 months without, no income. My dad was bugging me, where the heck are you going to do? Like, our debt is going higher and higher. So, but thank God I got a job in Windsor. So I really, really, believe in this destiny. So I got a job as a software developer in Windsor. I started to work.
And what were you doing for that first job?
A software developer.
Okay.
I did a lot of part-time jobs, all the hard jobs. I worked in restaurant and, resort, as a cleaning the toilets and all. But that's while I'm studying. But once I'm done studies,
So, and I just want to clarify that, like, you didn't not work for 8 months. You just didn't get a job doing what you wanted for 8 months.
Exactly.
In the background, you were doing all this other stuff. You were still getting your hands dirty and working. So it's not that you were looking for this and sitting on the family's money. You were like hustling, like minimum wage jobs, doing all that until the opportunity presented itself.
Exactly. But, minimum wage is just enough for me to survive, right?
Yeah.
Because that's like not at all close to, at least I cannot even send $500 a month to back home.
Yeah.
So I have to get a professional job in order to pay that debt back. So really, I've worked my ass off. I used to like live in a basement when I'm working as a software developer, even though my salary was like, close to 4,000 Canadian dollars after taxes.
Yeah.
Still, I lived in basement for $300.
Yeah.
Because I want to save that money and I want to pay back my debt first. So literally, like, it took me 2 to 2.5 years just by saving like each and every penny. And you won't believe I didn't even had a car until I cleared off my debt. So I was going by bus, and literally, my monthly expenses were like 700 something. And I was doing some other extra work on the go, just to make some extra income, driving, doing online e-commerce business.
Yep.
I did a MLM, if you know Amway. I still get some products here and there.
But you had a few side hustles going on as well. You were hustling, right? You were hungry. You were hustling. And I think what, even from yourself there, there's things I picked up. You came, minus 50,000. Was that right? What I heard? To get that done. And that was raised from family.
Of that 24% interest rate.
At a 24% interest rate. And that was from family. So you had a reason to hustle. And even when like You know, there's, when you weren't finding those jobs initially, you could have quite easily put your head down and been like, oh, you know, it's not working out, poor me, blah, blah. But you didn't. You kept scrubbing toilets, side hustling, MLM, and kept going, minimizing, like, you know, I'm going to go without a car. So you made sacrifices to get caught up, get to zero. It's not like you made sacrifices to get ahead. You made sacrifices just to get to zero. So yeah, good on you. Okay, so I think people need to understand, you know, that there's not I shouldn't say there's not an easy route. There's choices you have to make in order to get to where you want to get to. And if you're willing to make those choices, then you can get there faster. You know, you could have had a car, but you would have still been paying that a bit longer. It's not that you wouldn't have paid it back. So people understand that there's a consequence to each choice, and that can be a negative consequence or a positive consequence. In your case, it was positive. 2 years it took you to pay them back after you got your job?
Yeah, it took me more than 2 years.
That was after you got the job, was more than 2 years. So how long before you paid them back?
Yeah, because thank God, like as a software developer, I used to get a good salary.
Yeah.
So, and I was saving literally every penny.
Nice.
But in that process, you know, I was just paying these debts and I'm doing like not living the life at all.
Yeah.
You know, even I still remember if my friends, we were with friends and they always ask me, you're not traveling anywhere, you're not going anywhere. I'm not there yet. I don't have that option at the moment. I have to pay my debts first. If I'm traveling, that's another $1,000.
I want to clarify on that. You had the option, but you chose not to get that debt cleared first. So you didn't have the option. You made the choice, which is an admirable choice, right? Because a lot of people think selfish first, right? And you obviously were putting your family first because of what they'd done for you as well, right?
Exactly. And you're right. That's a big why I was going after, because, you know, my dad, he worked really hard as a labor in Dubai. If you know about Dubai labor story.
Oh yeah, I'm very aware.
He was there for like 8 years. I didn't see him for 8 years. And, you know, I was in boarding school and my mom and sister is in the village. So we didn't have a really family life just because of financial situations. So that's my always big why, you know, I want to get my family together, and my dad is coming in May. So we're going to, and my mom, she said, I want to come back once you have kids, but my dad is coming. So
are you going to make it out to the West Coast and show them what Canada looks like when it's green?
Oh yeah.
Our door's open. Come and stay with us on the lake.
Thank you. I'll definitely come.
Okay. So carry on with your story. So
yeah, you know, these kind of things always run back of my mind. You know, I always remember one quotation I read somewhere. I don't remember exactly, but where pay now, play later.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of want to pay now. You know, do my best and create an awesome, you know, portfolio with real estate, and, you know, build that portfolio and have a wonderful, you know, pipeline of money flowing in, and then start living the life. You know,
so I'm going to rein us back there. I'm going to rein back because we're going to get to that in the conversation. So you've worked your ass off, software developer, you've got your job, you got your side hustling, you're paying your family back. Where was the trigger into real estate? What was the point on that? So you're in Windsor, you're working as a software developer, and okay.
So if you remember from my beginning, I said I tried all sort of different things while I'm working full time.
Yeah.
So I did e-commerce. After a few months, I feel like this is not for me. Like, you know, that didn't work out. And you know, after my wife came to Canada, I purchased a car. So I started driving Uber.
Okay.
So I still remember one day, it's New Year Day, and I was driving Uber and my wife was at home. So like that day, all I was thinking is, maybe I'm not doing something right, because, you know, I'm still away from my family, just like my dad and my mom. Like, you know, I'm still away. Yeah. So that's something always, you know, the thought process was there. And then I started MLM. Thank God. Actually, I always thank my good friend. He's my friend from the beginning, from the day I came to Canada. Yeah. So this guy met another guy in an unexpected scenario. So the other guy, he told him about this MLM company. Amway. So this guy, my friend, he said, you know what? I'm not interested on all those things. I'm not interested in making more money, but I have a good friend who is always looking for something. I'll introduce you. So he took me to Detroit, where they host the events for Amway, the
Yeah.
presentation. I said, okay, sign me up. I'm looking for something, right? So
Yeah.
sign me up. I started to go for events and I started to build the team in that Amway.
Yeah.
I love their education. So thank God I went there. I started to, learn about how they do business and all. And in that process, my mentor, he suggested me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So that's where the all game changed.
That was the trigger. And it's,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, as I think a lot of people, I think they get missold in MLM. It's still a business, right? You're going to work your ass off it. But one of the things I do know from everyone I know who's been involved in them and stuff like that is the level of business training that you can take from it. You cannot get that same training going to do an MBA, because that's not that's skills. But you go in, and I tell people, because people come up to me because I'm a business owner and I've got 2 businesses, and they're like, oh, I'm thinking of starting a business. And I'm like, you know what, save yourself $100,000, go and start an MLM. And if you can stick to that for 2 years straight, and I mean, not just be in it, like work it on top of your job. So you're putting 60 to 80 hours a week, then go start a business. Because that's what it takes to be successful in a business. Businesses don't just start and all of a sudden you're an overnight success. I've never met one person where they started a business, did the 4-hour work week, and then all of a sudden they're millionaires. It doesn't happen. And I think the level of books that you get introduced to, the level of, the direction, the personal development, which a lot of people don't get into until later in life. So you do 2 years in an MLM, which costs what, $500 to start, most of them around that figure. That's and it might cost you $100 a month. So if you're in it for 2 years, you're in it for a couple of grand, and the level of education for that $2,000, as we're going to discover here, is life changing. Like, and that's funny because that's a very similar story. I was someone, introduced me to an MLM, but introduced me to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was the book that was like, I read it and I'm like, and I had a rental house already, but I knew it was right, but I didn't. And then when you read that in a book, it's like affirmation of what you already think. It's like, that is so true. And now I'm going to push it. So that obviously you had that moment. So I can see it in your face when you think of it. I can see your big bright white teeth smiling there.
Actually, throughout the book, only thing that stuck in my mind is assets, liabilities, And what's an asset? Asset is the real estate. He talks about, all the businesses, but he morely focus on cash flowing real estate.
Yeah, and asset is real estate that gives you money, not costs you money. Just exactly, because it can also be a liability, right? If you don't buy a rental correctly.
Exactly, not the right one. So that's exactly. So that education. Then I started to Google. We are sitting in a generation where you don't have to have any knowledge. Doesn't matter if you have enough motivation to get out of your ass and do a Google search. You'll find all the information. So that's what exactly I have done. Real estate, Canada. Look what I found. Rental property investing, a book, 2 books. One, Brandon Turner, he's from US, and the other one, Don R. Campbell.
Probably 2 of the best books you could have came across.
Yeah, exactly.
I do believe that Rich Dad Poor Dad is such it's a mind shifter book.
Yeah.
I think, and when you start reading Brandon and especially Don R. Campbell, especially those in kind of, and even though that applies everywhere across the planet, they're 2 very down to earth books that actually here's the concept, but then they'll give you that, well, here's the meat and potatoes. And it's like, that is not hard. And it's not.
So true. Yeah.
So you read those 2 books. Then what was the next step? So you read the 2 books. You now decided you're going to be the next real estate mogul. What steps did you take?
So the good thing, because of this, the books, the information available out there on social media, that's awesome. So I started to read more and more. Now at a point, almost I spent 2-3 months just reading different sort of people, the sort of books. Everyone, the successful people, this is what they say: learn and take actions, and then learn and scrutinize it accordingly. So I said, where I have to start now. So I started to Google more and find social media. It's called Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
If you have it. So
so Bigger Pockets here in is like US based, right?
Yeah, in US based.
And in Canada, which is being launched, which is actually, they're from Toronto, so your area.
Yeah.
He's got the Canadian Real Estate Network, and it's like Bigger Pockets. It's launching, so Scott's up that way, and he's basically creating that for Canadians here as well. So there's those two free resources that is just untapped. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's I started to connect with local people. That's where it blew off my mind. Now actually my good friend now, at that time I found her on Bigger Pockets. I met her in person. I asked her, you know what? She's an agent at that time, and she's now my partner. She's an agent, and I sat with her because she also owned a couple of rental properties, and she's like 25. I said, you know what? I want to do exactly what you have done. So she told me, the first option is to buy a property with a 5% down and plus need some improvements. So we started to look properties, and
your personal house you're looking to buy now, right?
Yeah. But not a personal house. Instead, what I have done, a duplex. I live in one unit, but my motto is to first buy a property that needs some work, like TLC, flooring, kitchen, cabinets, and all those things. And then I want to make sure the other unit rent will, fund my mortgage, if possible, expenses.
Yeah.
So I started.
And that's why you could get it for 5% down because you were living in that property, right?
Exactly. Owner occupied.
So instead of buying a single house and then finding something that needs 20%, you found a duplex so you could still put 5% down. Yeah. Smart move. Yeah.
Exactly.
I tell a lot of young people, I'm like, if you can do it, buy a house that's suited and live in the suite and rent upstairs, and then you live in mortgage free for a lot of young people, but they want the single house first. They don't. I'm like, no, you get ahead of it.
If you have to make a choice, like in the event, Don or Patrick, someone mentioned a statement. I really loved it. I don't love buying rentals or anything. I don't love real estate, but I love what it gives. So same thing. If you have an end goal, I want to buy a nice house for sure. I want to go and live it. But at this point, my goal is to learn about it. I don't have a bunch of money sitting in my desk and, to buy the property. So I found this property. Just my total investment was 8,000. So it's like, yes, I don't have to save a lot of money, especially I didn't have money.
Yeah.
And another thing I didn't mention is my sister's wedding was coming at that time when I purchased my first property. Actually, my sister's wedding was already planned, and my responsibility as an Indian, like our culture, my dad doesn't have any penny because he already spent all his savings, on me, and we borrowed even more. So now the only asset my dad had is me. So my responsibility is to give all the money that needed for my sister's wedding. So it just cost me 100,000.
How much?
100,000. Just 100,000.
Just 100,000.
Just 100,000. Yeah.
A small wedding, right? I think culturally, you're well known for having tiny weddings. That's correct, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had all these big ticket items, but still, one thing I said to myself, especially because of reading books and learning about successful people. By that time, I'm already a member of REIN Canada. So I went to a couple of meetings, met many great people. Also met many local investors. So I learned from other stories. I try to always shut my mouth and hear other stories, so that way I can learn more from them. So all I understand is, if I'm not taking any actions right now, it won't happen in future. If I say, hey, I'm going to do next year, once all my debt is clear, once my sister marriage is done, once all, that is in future. It doesn't happen if I don't take action.
Weights on things or excuses. And I've got a video that explains that. It's called The Power of Taking Action, because you can learn as much as you want. You can even pay for as much as you want. You can be the expert, but if you multiply that by zero action, anything multiplied by zero is zero, right? And there's someone I know personally. We read Rich Dad Poor Dad at the same time. I can have a conversation like we're having, and he gets it, he understands the concept, but he's done zero action, and he's still living, renting, struggling to get by. We've amassed a portfolio. We're having, you know, I'm living the life that real estate can afford if you do it right and by design. So that's excellent. That's 100 grand on a wedding. I'm like, oh, sometimes I'm grateful it might not be in my culture to pay for my sister's wedding. She's lucky if she gets a Christmas present off me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you didn't grow up in India, so if you would have, it's a different story.
I know. I think we just had Mother's Day in the UK, and I think I sent the card back with my sister in mind, and the card was, "Mum, I hope Mother's Day isn't as disappointing as my sibling." And I was, that's the love I have with my sister. So, okay, so you're a member of RevNyou. You've purchased your first duplex. Where did you go from your first duplex?
So, you know, once I purchased my first duplex and all the renovations is done, that literally blown away my mind, because now I'm living in one unit. It's a 1-bedroom unit, and the other one is 3-bedroom unit. And 3-bedroom unit is rented for $1,100, and my mortgage was, guess what? $520. So $520.
And then with all your expenses, I'm guessing you were probably cash flowing
$100 for free. Exactly. So I'm like,
zero cost to live. And in fact, you actually get an extra $100 that could go towards paying for your sister's wedding or whatever else you want to apply. So yeah, you're in a positive cash flow position with a roof over your head, and someone else was paying for it. Awesome. So that was your light on moment. Even though you read the book and it ignited you, I guess, sitting there, and when you actually like realize that, it's like, okay, this is great. But so what was your next step from then?
Yeah, and I will admit, it's not an easy process. It's a simple process, but it involves lot of work. Especially, you know, imagine from my position, I don't have any family here. No friends own a real estate. I don't know whom to trust. I don't know which type of contractor to hire, because literally I didn't know what is drywall, what is a screw, or what, you know, what the hell is, I don't know anything about construction. Zero knowledge, zero connections. But, you know, because I was eager to learn from others, that's the biggest thing that, and I have a big why. I want to make this happen. And that went through. So after first property, my sister wedding is still 1 year away. And thank God someone mentioned about line of credit. So my wife and I got a line of credit. I got 60,000 and my wife got 40,000. So I said, okay, in the worst case scenario, I have line of credit for paying my sister wedding. So let's save more and buy another property, because now we are living for free. And after 6 months, we saved. I was working. My wife is also working. She's a software testing engineer, and I'm a software developer. We are getting good income. So we haven't spent anything. We didn't. My wife came here 3 years ago. Till now, we didn't go any big vacation trips or anything. Till now, we are still living that you know, under penny pinching, all those things. So that's how we saved another 40 to 50,000 and bought another duplex.
Couldn't be any more stereotypical, right? You're like the immigrant. You're working in software. You're driving an Uber. You're penny pinching, like. And I know we joke about this, right? But I don't want to make light of. I know I made a joke of it, but you've made conscious choices about that.
Yeah.
That's one section. The second part of this is you have a why as well, because of that family that's driving that as well. So, and I think that's the points I want to take away from, even though you're making these, what we joked about as stereotypical choices, there's a why that's driving that, that's making you, and you're doing it for something bigger than yourself. So you're willing to put in that extra bit of work. Because if you make it for a selfish reason, I think you'll agree, it's very easy to give up on self. It's not easy to give up when you know you're going to get there's something else out there, right? So I think anyone who's looking to get into real estate, it's like you said, it's a simple process, but it's a lot of work. So you got to make sure you're willing to put that effort in. And if it's for yourself, people aren't even willing to get out of bed. Whereas if it's for something else, then usually you're willing to get out of bed. And that's why I think, you know, the why is huge. The choices are huge. So, you know, I don't want to, even though we joke about that, I want to really highlight that that's what's helped you get to where you've got to today. So through those choices, these things, you've got your second house. Carry on.
So second duplex, and same thing. Second duplex is cash flowing very good. As I said from the beginning, I was like fortunate to be in Windsor. So Windsor is like, doesn't matter what property you touch, it will cash flow.
At the minute. Oh,
Yeah, at minimum. Yeah, and if you're more conscious, if you're more picky about specifically cash flow, because I need more money.
Yeah.
So I was all after towards cash flow.
Yeah.
So second duplex, it was cash flowing $1,000, and while I'm living in one bedroom. So now I moved out of my single bedroom because that was a single bedroom unit. I moved out of that, and this second duplex, I have a video on my YouTube channel actually.
Okay. And you know what? You're going to send me that link, and we're going to put that link in the video right here so people can go and watch that video as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. So duplex, our upper unit 3-bedroom, main floor 3-bedroom. We are living in the 3-bedroom, in 1-bedroom. We rented out other 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
For $900, and the main floor it's rented for $1,250. 900
room.
Yeah, together like 2 rooms.
Okay.
480 and 420.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, not per room, not per room. That would be too much.
Yeah.
But we are sharing like an Airbnb.
Yeah. Okay.
Monthly rental. So main floor.
Who were you renting the rooms to? Just where did you get these people from? Just for people listening who might want to do this. I want them to understand, because I know someone else that does this well. They buy a house and they live in one room and they rent the other 5, and it cash flows like a king. What made you willing to give up privacy?
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, the money, the sacrifice, and stuff like that. But then, where did you find the people, and what made you decide on those people?
Okay, so good question. First thing, it's close to university.
Okay.
So second thing, I was looking for, professionals and whom I feel comfortable to share with, because especially I'm not single guy anymore. I have my wife with me, so I have to be very careful with the tenants whom I'm bringing into the house.
Yeah.
So actually, my wife was screening the tenants.
Right.
What we do, first thing she do, take the driver license and take the full name, go and Google it, Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias, and whatever it says. She sees the stories, what kind of people, what kind of posts they're doing, what kind of, what type of people they are. So we found these 2 guys.
They give you permission to do this, right? Because that's privacy laws. So they give you permission to go do those searches. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because here's the thing, Google searches, like anyone can do anything, right?
Yeah.
So now, but for tenants specifically, we have a lease agreement, like month to month lease.
Yeah.
And where they say, yes, verify, do our background verify. And that's why they're giving their driver's license. We are not taking their just name and Googling it.
Yeah, you're not just going and searching. They're actually giving you permission. I just wanted to clarify that, because I know with our privacy and information.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. So we take the initial application. So that's the part when she asks for driver license. She don't rent it out directly. So once she screens it and she is satisfied with their profile, then we go for them.
Yeah.
So these kids, they were like working. They're actually just finished their university, and also background from India. So there are like a lot of international students in this area around.
Yep.
So yeah, and now we are good friends actually.
Yeah.
So my tenants, they never treat me as landlord. We always, we used to hang around in the weekend, have drinks. So it worked out very well.
That's nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
but by that time, like second property, cash flowing, and now it's good to be greedy. I started to become more conscious. Now I'm working as a software developer, making like 4,400 ish after taxes.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm not growing anymore. Like, it's kind of.
You've reached a plateau with your career for a time, right?
Yeah. And I started to realize, like, I can do something more.
Yeah.
I can become something better. So now at this point, my why has changed a little bit. Yes, I want all my family and everything. At the same time, I want to, become someone, whom I like, my, I don't know. I felt like I see something.
Your goals
better
start getting bigger. Your dreams start getting bigger, right?
That's the right word. So
yeah,
that way, like in this process, I was talking to my friends whom I really like, close people. I was not talking much about my real estate to anyone. I was not on social media by that time. I was not talking to anyone about even my dad and my parents did not know by this time.
Yeah.
They don't know I own properties, because they will freak out because they see that big ticket item coming, and they don't understand. So I never mentioned until I purchased my 4th property. when I went back after my sister's wedding. After the wedding.
By the way, Dad, did you know that I'm like, and I own 4 houses? Like, how did that conversation go down? It's like, I was going to tell you, but I own half of Toronto. No.
No, actually, that's a funny story. My dad was even still freaking out at the marriage. He was like looking all these big ticket items coming in. I said, you know what? I don't have money, but I'm going to pay you. I'm going to give you, don't worry. And after the wedding, after all the celebrations was done, one day, literally at 9 o'clock evening, I pulled him, locked the doors, only just he, my mom, and me and my wife. We are sitting there. Actually, my sister, she's at her husband's home, so she's also not there.
Yeah.
So I said, listen to me. And I showed the pictures. This is our home. This is our home. This is our home. So I showed all the 4 houses. So we are buying this. We already purchased it, and this is what cash flowing. And even I didn't have money, but I paid for you guys. So don't freak out. And I'm going to make our life better. From there onwards, like in the beginning, they were a little bit hesitant. And after I came back from India, I started social media because now everyone knows about it. My parents knows about it. So now I took my game to the next level. I started YouTube channel.
Before we get to this next level, I want to hold there because that success, and I've been guilty of this myself. People are fearful of success, and they'll stay playing small because they're fearful of what family might think if they do well, or friends might think, or they don't want to lose their friends or their social circle. And your life is not going to change exponentially if you stay within that circle. So you'd obviously made the decision, you had your process, your time in your head, but a lot of people don't even get to that process. So they would have stopped it, which I know it sounds crazy, 2 houses, 3 houses, and now they know the process, they've got the experience, but they stop doing it just because, fearful of that success. So I can understand where you were on that and not wanting people to know. I know Richard Dolan, he's the president and CEO of Rain. He'll talk about his dad, how he would take his watch off and he dressed down instead of being flash. He didn't want his dad to think he was this flash guy. So it's I think people need to embrace successes. We don't celebrate it enough, and that's why I think just that point I wanted to say. What how long from when you told him this is what we've done, this is where it's cash flowing, you can see how it's going to work, I'm sensible. I'm assuming he didn't give you a beating at this time.
No.
Okay. So how?
Because I already paid for my sister's wedding, right? So.
Okay, so you give him the money at this point, then told him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because their biggest stress in the life, like in Indian culture, especially like who has a daughter, so they feel like once their daughter is like married, then they feel like their biggest burden is gone.
Right.
So it's like so now their burden is gone. So now they're like worried less.
Yeah. Awesome. So, and how long before they actually, obviously they understood it, liked it, but how long before they were like, you come back, you do social media, at which point was it like mom and dad were going, yeah, check this out. This is Addy, look, this is him on his new YouTube channel. So
I think,
I was going to try the accent, but I thought I better not.
No, actually that happened. My mom was telling me, my dad showed my partner Cassidy. She hosted a real estate event in Windsor. It's called a Win City ORAC. So in that event, actually CTV came there to cover the news. So they covered my story. So I was on CTV and I posted that video on Facebook, and my dad saw that video and he downloaded it on his phone. And my mom was telling, like, with literally chest up, showing to his friends, my son was in the news in Canada. So that was like a big thing.
So you're like famous now. I didn't even know this about you. Like before we had this, you're like mega famous. I should have got an autograph while I was up there. Got you signed one of my books or something. Okay, so you've got your duplexes. So you've got your houses. You start on the process. Family's on board. You're supporting your family, which is one of your big whys.
Mm-hmm.
What's your why now?
So good question. Actually, like when I'm buying these properties, I realize, like, especially like my generation, like, who are early 30s, who came from, immigrants, came from different countries, India, China and all these different countries. We come here, and especially early age when we came as new. Like I'm still like it's been only 6 years, so not I would say only 2% out of 100 or even less people think about assets.
Yeah.
That kind of, because whenever I'm talking to my friends, they're afraid a lot, scared to death, because what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? My colleague said that what if there was a water in the basement, and all these reasons. So they didn't talk to the right people. So these kind of things I was hearing a lot from my friends while I'm whenever I need them. So I said, you know what, I think I can make this change. That's one of the biggest reason I started my YouTube channel. I started sharing my stories,
Yeah.
how I got my first property, what's the numbers. You will see all my first property, second property. How I got my joint venture partner, how I raised more than 750,000 for my project.
Yeah.
So now my big goal is to help people like me. And at the same time, I'm selfish too. I want to grow. The more people I grow, I help, the more I grow, right?
Yeah.
So I want to educate people who are like me, make the right choices. When buying your first house is also a biggest decision. If you're buying a 500,000, but you're working as a employee making only 4,000 a month, you're literally paying off all your money for your house. That's not an asset.
Yeah.
So I want to educate, and I want to help people like me from like my background to make right conscious decisions and have a better life with better assets. So that's one of the big why that grew in my mind more and more. So I also decided to give up my software job.
Okay. So we got your software job. Then what was the next step? So now you get your job. You're now famous. You've been on the news. Your dad's probably showed you to about 4 million people in India on his phone.
Yeah.
Because that's what proud parents do. And then you decide that, you know what, I'm not going to continue in this job. That's restricting the goals that you want to achieve, right? Because now it's 40 hours of your week that you cannot do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So real estate.
How I quit it, because here is how I did it. I need an active income for sure. So real estate, what I'm investing is mostly like passive income. I'm not buying, fixing and selling.
Yeah.
I'm buying, fixing and keeping them.
Yeah.
So I don't have a much of active income. Yes, cash flow, but realistically, properties will survive themselves. They build wealth in a long run, but not much of active income for surviving. So especially if I want to, make my wife happy and also my family, then I need an active income.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if I want to help more people, then I want some other vehicle to do that.
Yeah.
So I said, I got my license. I got my real estate license.
Yeah.
As an agent. On the day I got my license, I gave my resignation letter, and it's been 2 months. So now it's April 4th.
Yeah.
So I think it's exactly February 4th. I got my license. I gave my resignation letter, and I already made a record I would say at least in Windsor. I already sold 9 properties over 2.5 million.
Nice.
In less than 2 months.
And that's and so, okay, what made you that successful compared to other realtors? Because there's lots of realtors and they might sell a house or two a month. What's differentiating you from them?
Biggest difference is I'm not a salesperson. I'm a mentor. Okay. I tag myself as a mentor, real estate mentor. If someone comes to me, now because I purchased a bunch of properties and I know this game, and I've been reading and communicating, interacting with many big people, big people in the industry, and also people who wanted to start, and also people who are in middle of that, like me. Yeah. So now I have all this knowledge based on this. Like I can definitely tell, let's say if you come to me, if you are working as a software or, whatever you're working as a nice paid job, you tell me that, hey, I want to buy a 500,000 nice family house. I want to go and live in. The first question I would find out, is he financially capable to handle that? Yeah. So I'm not a guy to sell you. I'm a guy to make you make a wise financial decision. So if you look at my videos on my YouTube channel, I literally just talk about truths, no marketing, no, no billboards, no fancy things. It's all about real information. And I talk about all my numbers, how I did it. So
Yeah.
That's the biggest, advantage.
And it's funny what you say about being a mentor there in the industry. So you obviously got some experience, you're mentoring it. And even I can relate to that. I had somebody come into my office yesterday who's a joint venture partner of mine. And, we've worked with them. They were retiring and their life situation's changing and they were looking to liquidate something. And I said to them, you're coming to me now. And obviously as a licensed real estate investment advisor, I have one hat. Then I also have my salesman hat, for want of a better word, for my investments that I'm in that are affecting my life. And I said, look, I'm going to have two conversations with you here. One is with my advisor hat on and under the legacy real estate investment advisor license. But I want you to know on this side, on my sales side, I don't care if you sell this house. I said, I really don't. It's made good money. I can move the money to something else. I could probably find another investor partner. Like, this isn't affecting it. And I just said, have you thought about this? Because like you said, she's looking at a cash flow, but she's been in this house long enough now, 5 years. It's not cost her a penny. There's been no headaches. It's been managed. Everything's been going on. But now it's starting to create wealth. And I'm like, you can start to pull this money out and subsidize your life. Or if you sell that, you get some money now, but then you've got no growth in the future. So you basically start in this pot and you're shrinking it. And you got to hope that you outlive that pot.
Yeah.
And I said, either way is fine. And, we give out quite a few things, but I found being a mentor and coaching and actually advising people properly about, because people are unaware of what it is. And she said, I did come in with an open mind and they're unaware of things that are possible. And real estate's changing fast now. Like, it's not, it was the same way for a few hundred years, and now we're starting to see a real shift in the things that can be done, the technology that's being involved, the places you can buy, the data you have access to. Like you said, you can just Google and find out. We did a webinar the other week with a load of people on my coaching program. And they were like, well, how do you assess a property? And I'm going, well, look, I go on StatsCan, I look up this. And if you're looking at, and I don't know Windsor's stats, but look at the Windsor stats. What are the growth here? What are the job growth? If the population's growing, that's great. But at what age? Because if the population's growing over 60 or 55, they're probably buying the house and staying there for 30 years. So there's not going to be as much demand for the sale in the future. So, you got to read between the lines. I know Don Campbell talks about, and Jennifer Huntdale talk about what's behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
I think you got to dig away at what that information is. And if you're mentoring people, as you obviously are, that's helping them look behind those layers of what they are told by their friends and family, what they see in the media, and help them to get an understanding from a point where they make an informed decision, not an emotional decision.
Yes, exactly.
Would you agree with that?
100%, like totally.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest thing, and I came across those kind of people.
Yeah.
I felt like that was very helpful for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just passing that,
And I think you'll probably agree here. So, I mean, you're like, I don't want to say a rookie because you're not. You're getting to a veteran now because of your experience. But in years, people would look at you and go, wow, you've hardly been in the game. But the wealth of knowledge you've obtained, it's not necessarily, and this is me as well, personally, I tell people, I'm not the inventor of knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that I'm a good conduit of the knowledge from the people that are super smart, and you can be a great conduit to pass on to whoever you want to pass that knowledge on to. And I think we have technology to help us do that, which you obviously utilize. So what is your YouTube channel? Tell me what the name of your YouTube channel first.
It's my full name, Aditya Kumar Soma.
Oh, so you kept it really short and sweet and easy for people to look up.
You know what? If that's hard, just Google Windsor, Ontario. You'll see first or second video, I'll be there.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put that link in the screen below here. You might need a wide screen, right, though, to get that all in. but we'll put the link in this screen. We're also going to put it in the comments of this video so people can click on that and go and check your channel. Obviously, we want them to subscribe, right, and start to learn from you. What would you say? Go ahead.
Yeah, more people are interested. That motivates me to make more content, right? You know better than me. how much work it goes into making the videos and editing. You've been doing it from a long time.
Yeah, and but I enjoy it. Like I enjoy seeing it change lives. I enjoy having that ability to share the knowledge, and it's same with you, like you said, it's passing on to help people do what I've done.
Yeah.
And then seeing those change lives. Like I really do like the way real estate has a positive when done correctly, has a positive financial impact on people's lives. I mean, even just on yourself, 6 years. So you came here 6 years ago, right? $50,000 in debt, family. Since then, you've paid back the debt. You've paid $100,000, which is no small amount of money for your tiny wedding that was put on. The tiny family wedding that only cost $100,000. You've obviously all the rest of the stuff that's gone with that, and your cost of living while you've been here, because it's not cheap. You can be frugal, but it's not cheap. The cost of living. You've still got to eat. You've still got to get to school. You've still got to travel around. Yes, you've made some choices and stuff, but I think that whole like I'm actually, and even from sitting at the table, we had a conversation for 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, I love your story. I love what you've done. This has to be shared. And that's why I said, do you mind, coming on and doing this Ask the Expert series? Because I view you as an expert, even though you've had, I don't want to say only 6 years, but 6 years, which a lot of people go, he's only been doing it 6 years, but you're crushing it. Like you're actually, I know you've got more properties. I know you've got joint venture partners. But if there was 3 things, like just 3 simple steps that you would give somebody watching this, your top 3 tips to be involved in real estate, what would they be?
So first thing, no connection with real estate, is knowing your why, big why. That's something I learned from the beginning, because without knowing me, I have my big why.
Yeah.
Second thing, learn from, whatever you can find, books, social media, networking groups like, Rain Canada, and local groups. Learn from people who are doing it.
Because successful people that are doing it.
Exactly. If you're talking to people who haven't done it, they're going to tell all the bullshit reasons. But if you're talking to the successful people, they're going to tell you there will be definitely horrible stories. I have so many horrible stories, but they will tell you how to overcome them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do in life, there will be all goods and bads.
Yep.
So the last thing is take action, take massive action.
Yeah.
So this is what exactly working out for me. I still feel myself, I'm just starting out, because I just quit my job and I'm just a new person. And I told myself, from the day when, I have actually a small board on my bedroom saying that you are always a learner. I'm always learning from others. So know your why, learn from everyone, who is successful, not from people who are not
selling you something.
Exactly. And take action. So don't be afraid of negative things. Don't let it stop.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're going to have those negative things. You're going to make mistakes. Yeah. You're going to follow. I use the analogy like, if, at what point do we stop telling ourselves and our kids and others around us to keep trying? Because when it's a newborn kid, we tell them to keep trying to walk, get up you get. We give that positive encouragement. At no time, wait 3 months after them, try and go, you know what, walking's not for you. You should probably just bum scoot for the rest of your life. Sorry, dude. But there's a point in our lives where we start telling ourselves that we'll try something for 2-3 months and we don't see an instant success and we give up or quit, when really it's, it's just that little step further, that little bit, that little tweak. And you might do it not as perfect as someone else did it, but then you'll learn from that mistake and move forward. But it is that action and, I think I've always been like a 2 foot in kind of person. Everyone used to say, you don't do anything by half, Gary. And it's probably true to my character, which sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's a negative, but I'll do something. Then I'll look back and assess if I could do it better. And then I'll try and refine it. And then I'll do it again. And then I'll look back and go, well, could I do that better? And I'm always asking myself, could I do it better? Could I do it better? And one of the things you mentioned about always learning, I think you had on your board, one of the things I'll always say, the more you know, the more you realize you know so little.
Yeah, exactly.
The world. I'm like, the more I've traveled the world, I've been to over 100 countries with the Navy and stuff.
Wow.
But I'm like, but I've realized I've hardly touched a fraction of our planet. But it's took me to go to that much to see it, to realize I've hardly seen anything. And I think the same with knowledge. The more you get, the more you realize we actually don't know a lot. But we take that little bits that we've got and apply action to them, and we're going to get a result. And if the result's negative, you change the action that you're doing. And if it's positive, keep doing it. Like over and over. And everyone looks at, I feel, everyone looks at real estate investors and they see, especially like the successful ones, they'll see the houses, they'll see the light, they'll look, and it looks like a duck on water to them, cruising along. They don't see the paddling that's going on beneath, they don't see people getting on a flight to fly across the country to go to a real estate seminar, to meet some awesome people, to get more information, inspiration, and, help design the life, become a better mentor, and the personal development that goes into doing all of this picture. But it is daily, constant action. And I've been doing that for years and years and years. And yeah, like even like I'm not, I don't mean this in like a literal sense, but I'm not that far ahead of you in time sense. You've been in 6 years. I've been probably 10 years as a real estate investor, which is a snap of time in the investment world. I mean, 5 years, your mortgage renewal comes up. You're like, where did 5 years go? I only bought this house yesterday and was renovating. Yeah, 5 years goes fast in real estate. So it's like, that's one mortgage cycle. And so it's kind of, I think people get lost in trying to do something in 2 months, 3 months, because the TV show tells you that you can do it and roll over 50 grand cash positive in, in a weekend with 10 of your buddies. It's like, that's not how it works. And I'm glad someone like you is mentoring people. And, those 3 key points I feel are absolutely awesome. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Social media. And nowadays I'm living on social media.
Okay.
So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Okay, and we're going to have all those links along the bottom here that people can click into. And if someone wanted to invest, what do you specialize in, and what can you provide for them? Yeah,
so I'm specialized in multifamily. So I was buying 2 units, 3 units. Right now I'm working on a 6-unit building because now I'm already maxed out with residential. I'm getting into multifamily. I already purchased a 6-unit building, redoing the whole building, and we're going to refinance that, and my investor will get most of his money back within 1 to 1.5 years. And then he will still have a 50% pocket on it. So, and I'm going to do more on that one, like multifamily, 10 units, 20 units building, maybe up to 30 units, where eventually I'm going to scale up on that one.
So if joint ventures, so that you're looking for people to connect to you, joint venture, they're looking for joint venture, and what area is your specialty? So multifamily, what areas?
Windsor, Ontario. So right now I'm more specialized in Windsor, Ontario, but I'm getting into Detroit. I'm just learning. I just made a couple of videos on Detroit because I went with a guy who invests in Detroit. So I'm learning still. I haven't started anything on that one, but right now in Windsor, Ontario.
Windsor, Ontario. So Windsor, Ontario, connect you. Social media is a way to connect your channel, which we've already linked, that people can click in the things there. Is there anything else you'd like to add onto this before we come to a close here?
Just take action. Don't let your stories stop you. Everyone has stories, bad stories, good stories. Everyone will have strengths. So take your strengths as a starting point and build on it.
So for someone that couldn't even swing a hammer is now killing it in real estate. We only been in Canada 6 years. The term, we talked about the book that's out there. You've worked like an immigrant because you had to, because you had a bigger why. You've achieved some great things in your short time. And you know what? It's been a pleasure having you on the video. I'm looking forward to sharing this on my channel as well, just so people can get to know a little bit more about you. I'm looking forward to staying connected with you, sharing the journey with you, learning from you. And I will see you in the summer when your dad comes across. You're going to come down and spend some time on the lake. We'll get him out in the boat. Can he swim?
Yeah. And actually he does very well.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll get you out. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gary.
You're welcome.
When I was talking to you and your wife, I felt like we have a similar mindset. I literally, I have a lot to learn from you, and I'll keep following you. I will keep in touch. So it's a pleasure. Thank God I met you.
Thank you for your time. And yes, we'll keep in touch. Have a great day.
Yeah. You too. Have a good evening.
Yeah. Bye-bye.